Hi, my friend. Are you ready to be found online wherever your dream clients are searching? Are you looking to make your marketing make sense? Do you want to be able to confidently make decisions about your marketing so that you can stop wasting your time and money and really know what to focus on to grow your business? If so, you are in the right place, and I am so excited to have you here. Let's jump right in. Hi, welcome back to the podcast. Today, I wanted to talk about website platforms and your SEO. This is a question I get a lot, especially from my students. Rachel, which website platform is the best for my SEO? Before I get into this, before I start doing SEO, before I start creating more content, do I need to move my website to a different platform? In most cases, the answer is no. You don't need to move your website to a different platform. If you're on Showit, Kajabi, Squarespace, WordPress, I don't know which other ones, those are the main ones, Shopify, etc. Those are all ones that you can do SEO on. In my experience, the only one I've found that really had an issue with SEO was the GoDaddy website builder, and it's possible that they've updated it. I haven't looked at it in the past couple of years, but it was one where you could not do SEO on the site. But the majority of the ones that are available today are SEO friendly. They are ones that you can optimize, you can customize, you can do what you need. So rather than worrying about, am I on the wrong platform? I want you to instead focus on learning how to optimize for the platform that you're on, because the thought of moving from one platform to another is actually a very serious, sizable undertaking. It's not something that I want you to do just because you think that the one you're on isn't the most ideal from an SEO perspective. It's something that if you really need to make a change, you really don't want to be on Squarespace, you really do want to move to Kajabi, you want to go to Go High Level, you want to go to Showit because of features that that platform has, great. But don't think that you need to do it just to be able to do SEO. Sometimes when we get focused on things like, I need to change the platform before I do SEO, that's actually our nervous system, like getting scared. And so wanting to stay busy by focusing on something that feels less scary than like learning SEO. It's kind of interesting. I've been learning a lot about how our nervous system impacts us as entrepreneurs. And I found that to be fascinating. It's that busy work. It's staying busy, doing things that aren't really moving the needle. So often when we're thinking about, I need to change this or I need to redesign my website, it's not actually what's going on. It's that something inside of us is scared. So maybe take a minute, take a deep breath, ask yourself, what is it that you're afraid of doing? What is it that you think you need to do differently? And then what is the one next thing that I could do? So what's the one thing? If I just started with one thing. So for you, let's say you're going to stay on the platform you're on because now you understand you don't need to change. The platform that you're on is absolutely fine for SEO. So now what we want to do is to look at how can I start to optimize my site without getting scared. So choose one keyword. Let's start with your homepage. Your homepage is honestly the easiest page to focus on because in most cases, your keyword for your homepage is going to be your business name. Let's make it super simple. If you service a local area, let's go ahead and also use that local area, that city or town or city and state, depending if you're in a situation where there's two cities with your name, there's one in your state and there's one in another state, then you might want to go ahead and include the city and state both. But let's optimize that homepage. Let's just get it started because that's going to make it easier and it's going to make everything else feel easier for you. So start with your business name. You're going to create a title tag and a meta description with your business name as the keywords. So you can do that. Your title tag should be a maximum of 60 characters, including spaces. Your meta description should be a maximum of 160 characters, also including spaces. Then I want you to make sure that you've used your keyword, meaning your business name or your name, if you're like a coach or a consultant. And if you're a local business, you've used your location information also in the first paragraph of your copy. This is important because it helps Googlebot, it helps AI, it helps all of that. It also helps the customer to know that this is the website. I found the right place. It is servicing this local area. And then you'll want to potentially use your keyword in some of your header tags on your homepage. So header tags are just those big fonts, the bigger text that breaks up your text on a small page. So think of it as like the titles between the paragraphs, because that's really what they are. They're title tags. They're header tags. You're going to have one header tag for your page. If you're on WordPress, by default, the page name is going to be the H1 tag. Then you'll have secondary H2 or H3. H2, you want to think of as like your paragraphs. So if you have 3 points, let's say you're working on a blog post. I know we've been talking about the homepage, but it's easier to explain it in blog post format. So let's say we have a blog post that's 3 tips. Tip 1, tip 2, and tip 3 would each be an H2 tag because they are a complete thought. They're a section of text. Then if you wanted to break one of those down further, maybe there's subpoints in section number 1 or step number 1, then you would use H3 tags to break down that information into subsections to make it easier for your reader and also for your search engines, both your traditional and your AI search engines. That's going to help you optimize the page. So don't worry about, is my website builder the best one for SEO? It really doesn't matter. They're all going to be fairly SEO friendly. They're all going to have some pluses and minuses, honestly. You're going to have more code, which is going to slow things down a bit when you're using website builders. But it also makes it so that you can edit it on your end, which is ideally what I recommend. So whether it's Kajabi, Squarespace, Showit, etc., you're going to have additional code just because of the fact that it is a builder. It is going to slow it down slightly. Site speed does impact our potential rankings, but it's not going to negatively impact you to the point that you need to have somebody hard code a website. I do not recommend that. My site has that on like the core pages, and it's a pain in the behind, and I am not the one who does that. I have a regular blog editor, and my blog is exactly like what you're probably used to on your website, and it's much more user-friendly, and that is what I recommend 100%. To be technically friendly, you want to make sure that your site can really update. So the things you're looking for is, can I add content? Can I add header tags? Can I upload photos? Can I change the names of my photos? Can I write a title tag? Can I write a meta description? As long as you can do all of those core things on your website, you're going to be fine. You don't need to change your website structure, your builder, your platform to do SEO. The other thing you want to look at is reducing your file size, because your image file sizes will slow down your website, and that is what will impact you more than your choice of platform, because large images load slowly and they'll impact your site performance and they'll impact the user experience. So what you can do to help yourself is to either use a plugin like WP Smush if you're on WordPress. If you are maybe having photos done by a photographer, make sure that you have a version of them that are saved for web. You'll use those on your website versus the big, large files that you might use for print. If you're on a different platform and you don't have a plugin or you don't have a way of doing it automatically, then you can use a tool like WP Smush. WP Smush is the WordPress plugin. You can use JPEG Mini, which is a tool that you can use to reduce the sizes of your images. If you're on Canva, you want to just export your images as JPEG, not PNG, because JPEG files are smaller than PNGs. The only time you should use a PNG is if you need a transparent background on your image, because that is what you can get with a PNG that you can't get with a JPEG. Unless you need a transparent background, don't bother with a PNG. JPEG is fine. It's also a smaller file. On Canva, save it as a small one or a medium file. Start with small, take a look at it, make sure that it looks like it's got the right quality that you want. As long as the quality is good on a small file, it will load faster, which will help you. Ultimately, you're looking to have your images be kilobytes, not megabytes. So KB, not MB. You want them small. You don't want big, giant images that are going to slow everything down. That's going to have more of an impact than whether you're on Squarespace or Kajabi or WordPress. Okay? Hopefully this helped. I know we talked a little woo there for a moment about nervous system regulation, but it's been fascinating for me. I've had the opportunity to learn quite a bit about how our nervous system impacts us as entrepreneurs. And it's been really, really interesting. And there are little things like that where you feel like you're stuck, you know what you should do, but you can't do it. Or you feel like, well, I've got to figure this out before I do that. I've got to redesign my website. I've got to change my font. I've got to change my brand. Maybe I need to change my platform. And so often that's just a nervous system reaction because we're scared about something. I had no idea. I'm finding it absolutely fascinating to learn about. If you are interested, if this is like, I want to learn more about this, let me know. Send me a DM on Instagram, reply back to an email, something like that, because I have a friend who I've learned a bunch from, and she could potentially come on the podcast and talk to us about tips for our nervous system regulation. But I want to make sure it's something that you're interested in because I've learned a ton from her and I bet she would be willing to come on and chat with us about it. But I want to make sure it's something that you're interested in before I reach out to her and ask about that. All right, that's it for today. Thank you for being here and I'll see you back here next week. Bye for now. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you took away something very actionable that you can start to use in your business right away. If you want any of the freebies that were mentioned or you want any of my resources or free trainings, you can find those at etchedmarketing.com/freebies. If you would like to work together, I would love to work with you. Send me a note, reply to an email, DM me on Instagram. You know how to find me. I would love to help you grow your business as well. And if you have found this podcast helpful, would you do me the biggest favor and follow it or subscribe on your podcast app of choice and then give it a rating and review? That really does help. It's just a little something you can do that helps me out in return. I appreciate it so much. I'll see you back here next week.